Fáilte ga duine go dtí an díal de bit le Mr. Brendan O'Donoghue and Shot I Highland Radio. Fáilte, welcome everyone to the DL debate. Thanks so much for tuning in now on Highland Radio. We're back via the podcast. Thanks Donna Marie for the news and of course the excellent Power Hour Plus with Ivan Bourne, and Joe Dex is here as ever producing, looking after me. Fair play to you, Yosef. That's what I'll call you this evening, Yosef. I'm in that kind of form. How could you not be in good form? Donegal finally, put away this ghost of Mayo dominating this, came through a very tricky game, miles and miles away from home. There should be more talk about Jim McGuinness, and rightly was, to question the decision to play it down there. It's amazing how much the comment of someone like Jim can grow legs after that game. To me, it was minor detail in terms of who'd won the match. It was funny how the nation's media kind of closed in on that, because, listen folks, it was minor detail to a brilliant Donegal performance, a lot of questions asked, but we came through again. And I just want to shout out to a few people. Johnny Kern I met down there yesterday, a man with serious GA pedigree. He's been at more All-Ireland football finals and hurling finals. He has some history behind him. Johnny, listening in as ever. Peter Patton, I have to give him a shout out, of course. Amami Olata, Sean's dad, a huge Bunagee man. We have him over to the GA now, and listen, he'll always be a proud Bunagee man, but fair play to Peter. I was catching up with him earlier today, and he is saying he'll be listening in tonight. And listen, we hope to entertain you, Peter. And coming up on the show, I'll be joined shortly by former County Star All-Ireland winner Ryan Bradley, chief sports writer with the Sun, Killybegs native himself. Jason Byrne will also be here, and we'll talk, of course, about Donegal Mayo and the big talking points from the weekend. We'll build up to Louth as well. I'm going to speak with the Louth GA correspondent Keevan Riley as well, who's going to be joining us just to get the vibe in Louth. A lot of people talking to a friend from Galway yesterday, JP, and he was saying the last thing Galway want is to be coming up to Fortress Ballabafay, even though it was breached quite recently. I think that was a one-off. We'll tighten things up again, but it'll be interesting to see from a Louth perspective what they made of the draw. After that, I'll catch up with ladies boss James Daly after they had a tough opening day defeat to Galway, All-Ireland finalists last year, of course. Galway going for an All-Ireland, so that was a tough opening day, but now away to Tipperary, who we've beaten already. So I'm going to catch up with James later in the show, but first, as I say, I have two men on the line. I've one that can see one of them anyway. It's the one and only James. Are you there, Byrne? The man himself.
Can you hear me, Bren?
What's the crack, kid? Are you alright?
I'm good. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Jason, listen, who else have we got on there? Have we Ryan? Ryan's probably...
Yeah.
You there, Ryan?
Brendan.
Good man yourself, lads. I can never always just see you direct, so listen, good to hear you, Ryan. You never would have been that quiet.
I was always very shy, Brendan.
Definitely so. Jason, the Hyde, all this furore about the Hyde, what are you making of this? Bit of background noise to what was an epic game, I thought, and a brilliant victory from Donegal.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. Just in terms of the venue, like it was a point that Jim kind of very acutely made himself. I think he just wanted the powers to be to hear what he had to say about it, but like it probably did create a bit of a siege mentality within the camp coming down, which is never any harm either, as you know. But it was a brilliant performance. Michael Murphy, what do we say about this man? Like I can't believe how good he's actually been after being 2 years away. Like we knew he was going to be good, but did we really know he was going to be this good? Like he's in popular of the year form, and he made a mistake for Mayo's goal. He gave away a ball, but he was even better again after that, which kind of really sums him up, if you can sum him up at all. Moore's point, like what nerves of steel to just take on two men at the end of a game after the hitter goes and you just lash it over the bar like that. Shane O'Donnell again, phenomenal, absolutely incredible. Keelan McColgan, fantastic as well. It was those kind of performances that were most pleasing for me. And you mentioned the patterns there. Great that Sean came through the full game as well. He landed awkwardly after catching a ball in the first half, and he seemed to kind of limp a wee bit when he came back down, but thankfully he was able to continue and get away some rocket kickouts in that second half, no more so than the one for Kieran to race through and score that point. But
Be long,
Donegal
long,
will probably
be
be
long
disappointed
living,
with some of the.
long
Probably be
living the
disappointed
memory.
with some of the missed as well, Brendan. What do you think
Aye,
about that? Like,
listen,
yeah.
yeah, I think when we were on top there, we probably didn't punish in the level that we did, or level that we should have, and level we have been is something we've been very, very, very efficient, I suppose, in front of goals. And Ryan, just on the travel there, I suppose if you look at Mayo's season, they've been to Carrick-on-Shannon, been to Oma, they've had 2 games at home. We've had 3 trips to Clonus, 1 to Breffni, and now to the Hyde. Do you understand, Ryan? I suppose when you're trying to, we're going through all these games so quick, recover, get ready, and then you're going, as Jim was saying, travelling overnight and that. How much do you think that's adding to the drag in terms of that Donegal season, all these games and the trips to them?
That's definitely adds a bit. It takes that extra day of travelling and preparation to go to them, far away games, especially from, up yourselves. And it's 3.5 hours here from Inishowen to the game. But luckily, I was in Galway for the weekend anyway, so it was only an hour over the road. But I know people left 4.5 hours travelling from Inishowen, and I'd say I probably agree with Jason. Probably Jim used it as motivation. It's us against everyone here. But definitely, it takes a lot out preparation, organising hotels, getting food ready for the boys. It adds on that extra bit that they probably don't need this time of the year, especially with the schedule being so busy. But again, I'd say they used it. It was fuel to the fire for them. I'd say it was us against everybody.
It's we always hear it, the siege mentality, surely. And lads, you look at it yesterday in terms of going down there. Once the stage was set, I suppose, I know we were getting quite excited in the commentary. Here's the last 40 seconds of your Oisin.
Mayo have gone level with 15 seconds to go. It's 18 plays, 18.
Got to get possession now. One last play, Oisin.
This is so crucial from Sean Patton. We are level here. The hooter is about to go. The kick goes out to the left. Up they go forward. Goes over the top of everybody. But Donegal have the ball. It's with Kieran Moore now. Moore getting round the Mayo defence. Here's a chance for Kieran Moore. Moore kicks it high. Moore kicks it over the bar.
Attaboy, Moore!
Moore has just put Mayo out of the All-Ireland Championship. The game is over. Donegal won it 19-18. Kieran Moore is the hero of the day.
Well, there you go.
Still exciting as it was yesterday.
That's myself and Oisin there enjoying that last play. And you know what? I have an interview from Kieran Moore there. If I get a chance, it's up on the site. There's words from Jim as well, and the likes of that commentary's all up there. But there's just something about Kieran Moore, just in the way he plays. Particularly I was saying, chatting to Brendan about it before the game, and the game opens up, his athleticism really comes to the fore. And you almost felt sorry for there was the last Mayo attacker was on him there. He just gave up. The guy was chasing him down the left, and this is the last minute of the game. And I think it was probably about 3-4 seconds before the end of the match when Mayo hit that equaliser, which could have obviously put them through. The fact that the kick out came, and what a point for Moore to end it. So listen, phenomenal stuff from him. But just going into the game there, first half. We settled really well. A couple of points from Mogan. We looked very comfortable on the ball. They had a slight bit of a breeze. McCall was doing well on O'Donoghue. Keelan McColgan, which I never seen coming, picking up Neil O'Shea. Murphy and McHugh were having a great battle. And I really thought, like, after surviving what was a harsh card on Mogan, they'd gone in at 9-6. Things were looking really good for us at half time. Like, keeping Mayo to 6 points was top drawer, particularly seeing as he played 14 minutes actually of the half down to 14 men.
Yeah, exactly, Brendan. And Mayo had the breeze as well. And like they created very little. Like Donegal had 6 wides in that first half as well, and a couple of shots dropped short as well. I think it was Kieran Thompson and Oisin Gallen. So like they could have been further in front. And there was that massive goal chance from Owen Ban as well. I think Rory Brickington just did enough to put him off when Owen was about to pull the trigger. So very unlucky not to get a goal in that instance as well. And like there was a period of that second half, I think, where Mayo didn't score for 17 minutes. Or the first half, sorry, for 17 minutes. Like, and that's when Donegal went 6-4 in front. And Patter was off the field for a lot of that as well. So, that was massive. Like the black card was ridiculous. Like Jim had a go with the referee in his post-match interview as well. And I think a lot of Donegal supporters would have been in agreement. He was kind of harsh in a lot of his calls Donegal's way, particularly that black card. for Patter in the first half, especially so early in the game as well. When he was flying at that stage, he had 2 points on the board, as you said. But some of the battles, as you mentioned, there taking place all over the pitch were just a joy to watch as well. It kind of set up for a ding dong second half after that, but like that battle between Murphy and Donegal McHugh was cracker as well, and then Mayo were just so unfortunate to lose him to injury in that second half too. But it's fine margins as well, isn't it? Like Mayo will just be kicking themselves for that first round game against Cavan. It wasn't Kieran Moore that knocked them out. That was the day they were knocked out. Really, it was going to be very, very hard to recover from that, and you're kind of scrambling and dependent for other results. Even though they did go up and produce a whopper of a performance to beat Tyrone and Oma, I think they were always kind of swimming against the tide after losing that game to Cavan. Like sometimes you just don't get away with results like that in the championship, even though 3 teams do go through from the group. So I think Donegal will be delighted, and just hopefully the bodies are okay now, Brendan, for this week, because if Donegal do overcome Louth, you're facing into a third game in the space of 14 days in an All-Ireland quarter-final at Croke Park. So just hopefully now the Charlie McManus isn't a busy man this week, and all the medical team and Jim's backroom staff as well.
Definitely. Yes, a lot of work to be done, but the massive thing, I suppose, as we're saying, is we are at home. Actually, I met the ref leaving, and do you know what? Whatever it is, he came over to me and was all buzz ready for the crack, and you know, at that point you won the match. Here was me, like I think 10 minutes before it, I wanted to have a word with him, and then I was like, who cares? We'll let it fly. I kind of bottled it, Ryan. What do you think? Should I have had a word with him, or did you just get this feeling that you're trying to be impartial, but you're like, hold on, that went against us, that went against us. You just
I thought he was very harsh on us a few times, especially the black card in the first half. And Keelan McColgan was brought down for the exact same foul 6 minutes after Patter Morgan gets sent off. It might have been O'Shea. Tripped him and brought him down. I thought that's the exact same foul. They should have got a black card. But even in the second half, when they played advantage for them and they let them shoot for goal, and Patton saved it, and he brought the ball back for a free, I thought, you give him so you're awarding him now for missing the shot on goal. They have a chance for an easy free. I thought some calls were bad, but in the heat of the moment, it's not an easy job.
But Brian, that you see when the ball's recycled across, if the ref has the hand up, that forward often rushes the shot on goal. It's like a split second. Yeah. So the fact that they worked it to the left, there was a tackle, a challenge, then another pass, then a one.
There's 2 or 3 phases.
Yeah. So Sean saves it, and you think brilliant, and we get the ball. Next thing you see I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a strange call.
But it is the referee's discretion. It is down to him, you see, and that's again leaving it open. But I think everybody was like, hold on a second. As you said, it's gone through the phases. It's too far. Ryan, do you think this thing with Donegal and goals and that, it's just a thing, right? But rarely I've seen a game where we created so many clear-cut chances and half chances and still didn't hit the onion bag. It could have been undoing of us. As it wasn't, but you certainly thought we created so many chances, and we seemed to be getting, with them strike runners we had, we seemed to get right to the heart of Mayo defence. Like you could say there was maybe 7 or 8 between full chances and half chances goals yesterday. We didn't manage to seem to register.
Oh, there definitely was. I was behind the goal for the Donegal shoot into the first half, and I thought Patter Morgan, time that was the second point, he probably was in goal too. I thought that should have been a goal. I thought Owen Bam was very unlucky. He done everything right, and it was just wide. I thought it was harsh. Now I thought he was just very unlucky not to hit the target. If he had hit the target, he would have scored. It was that close, and it was very unlucky. Yeah. I think Jason was right. Your boy did put a bit of contact on him. They put him off. But I don't think we'll get away with missing that many goal chances as the games go on. I think we'll have to be a wee bit more ruthless and clinical, which you don't often say about Donegal, but hopefully that was a once off yesterday, and hopefully the next game will be burying them opportunities. Yeah,
and Jason, just on that, having Sean Patton back in there, and listen, it's no disrespect to anybody else, but if he wasn't playing yesterday, there's loads of cogs in the wheel, but I want to start with him because Mayo would sense saying, let's squeeze up this batter Donegal, let's make them kick high and we'll win X amount, but his ability to ping those balls, particularly those ones down the middle that he hits to Murphy, and clipping the short ones with a surety out wide. They hit one very tight one to Thompson, remember, in the second half when we were under pressure. And then, of course, one of the biggest goal chances we had was the one McBurdy coming on the right. But that's because Mayo had pushed up on the kick out. And that's the thing about Patton. He can hit this 70-yard you know, the famous patent boomer. We should have got that goal, should have wrapped it up, I think, or would, I think, put us in a position to win the match. But that's the difference having Patton there. If a team squeezes up, he's got a few, he can go short, he can clip a ball, Donegal can create space. And if you get too far squeezed up, boom, it goes over the top and there's a potential goal.
Yeah, exactly, Brendan. And like the thing about him is like he just seems to get it down in the tee so quick, and he doesn't even have to take this massive 10 steps backwards to line up his run to kick it. Like he just seems to be able to boom it when the ball's just sitting right in front of him. And that, you know, when he put that one through for McBurdy's chance, it was Dara O'Bale the ball fell to, and the crowd in front of us were roaring at Dara to shoot, as per Celtic Park against Derry last April. But he lofted it through to Paddy, and I don't know how the Mayo keeper got back, lads. Colin Reap, like he was in no man's land. He totally pushed up as well. And like I don't think a lot of the Mayo defenders had even realised that either. But Paddy just kind of took a split second to maybe compose himself, and Reap got back and managed to get a foot on it, and it came off the post. We didn't realise that that's what actually happened in real time. We thought Paddy just put the ball wide, but Reap, if you watch the replay, really slowed down, and I'm sure folks in the TV would have seen it. Like that, he managed to get a boot to it and deflect it off the post, and that's why it went out for a 45. But like Sean, as you mentioned, Brendan, he's just so crucial to everything that Donegal do. And, you know, he made a massive double save as well, like with like a couple of minutes of normal time left. Jack Kearney was through and goal and he saved that. And then there was a follow-up from Paul Towie, and then it was called back for a Mayo free anyway. Like, but those were massive moments as well. You know, if that had gone into the net, they could have been looking at a defeat then, you know, and it could have been a different story. Like the Mayo goal was a very unfortunate one to concede, but thankfully we survived. But as Ryan said as well, you know, the fact that we didn't get a goal is a bit of a worry, and it's something that they will need to address coming into the serious business, that starts now on Sunday with Louth coming to Ballybofey, you know. So I'm sure they'll be working hard to address that one as well. Just very unlucky not to get one. It's kind of a nearly freak that Donegal didn't get one, given the chances that they had. But hopefully that'll all change now the next day.
Hopefully that's unluckiness gone, yeah, sure thing. Jason, Ryan, how are you assessing this Donegal team now? You know, listen, it's very hard to kind of pick out players because people have done such serious shifts now, Ryan. You know, there's such a buy-in to the system, and, you know, the energy of Finbar Rody and Patter Morgan breaking McCall again, unbelievable. I mean, he's marking one of the best forwards in Ireland, and he is so good at what he does, you know. I'm not saying we take him for granted, we just expect him now to take people out of the game, and that's a difficult thing to do with Brian O'Donoghue. You know, going in there, and obviously the form of Keelan McColgan coming in, it's such a, of all people, he had no shame, must be double the height of him, the way he got stuck into him. You know, we obviously mentioned Moore there, you know, Hugh McFadden, but in a serious shift. You know, the ball carrying of Shane O'Donnell was just again off the charts, and Murphy as well, Conor Donnell at moments. So, you know, what are you seeing with the balance of this team? Jason McGee come on as well. Are you thinking now Donegal, from what you're seeing, Ryan, as good as anybody's out there in terms of what you've seen in the last couple of games?
I think probably in the last few games, I don't think maybe just the way it panned out, we were over reliant on Mayo, or maybe just the fact that Mayo was just pure brilliant and he was having outstanding games. But really impressed yesterday after with Keelan McColgan and Morgan and Rorty stepping up. I thought they were outstanding. I thought Keelan McColgan was really outstanding yesterday against Aidan O'Shea, and Cian Moore at the end. I just think more players are stepping up and doing a wee bit extra in games, which is very, very positive. And I think if you get Darragh Boyle back on form and Michael Langan and Peter McGee giving that wee bit extra, it's going to, if them boys are all on form, they're going to be really hard to stop, you know. Yeah. And I do think like Sean Patton's crucial to Donegal going all the way. If Donegal don't win that game yesterday, Sean Patton's not in nets for that last kick out. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. You know, the way he kicks that ball up the field, it's just...
Yeah, agree.
It's great to watch.
Agree, Ryan. Jason, just on the Donegal team, and again, I'm not... Listen, we're behind the lads all the way. Did you think that we got pretty tight? Now, very hot day there, let's be honest. The Mayo break in the second half looked very dangerous compared to the first half, let's say. We got very deep with our defensive shape. Like we were right on the D. Like we started the game on the arc, you know, and as the game went on, we got deeper and deeper. Is that a bit of a danger? Because it was as if Mayo could rotate the ball and it got to a shooter, he's almost on the D. I mean, it's a straightforward enough kick. I mean, Dawson had them couple of points. They were a bit easy defensively good, and then he missed two and dropped one short. which actually was a bit lucky on our behalf. But do you think there's a way there needs to be a shout there of get out further, or is that just the heat of the day and it was just affecting the lads that you naturally just want to drop in and a kind of safer zone, but you're in many ways leaving yourself open to an easier strike?
Yeah, it's a good point, Davey. Like, at that stage in the game as well, Mayo had the game turning into what they wanted to, and that was chaos. That's what they thrive on. They take you out of their comfort zone. They put you into a place where you don't want to be. And I think that's exactly what you described there in terms of Donegal just kind of being squeezed back gradually. And, they had us in the rack there for a while when that happened. Like, there was a massive moment as well when Matthew Ruan was breaking on the ball, and Murphy just somehow, I don't know how he did it, he managed to get a paw on the ball and turn it over. Like, it was an absolutely huge moment. Like, there was so many turnovers in the game as well, and
a lot of unforced, Jason, maybe we're not used to, and really kind of basic passes. Whenever we seemed to slow down the play at all, there was a very uncharacteristic poor set of passes from quite a few players out there, which again, it's not like us. I was just saying to Ryan before, have you seen enough that we're kind of operating at the level we need to be to take out a big team? And just the way we ended up defensively in that. And I don't want to keep going into the season it was, but there is some amount of games coming, and they're not. As I say, people are out on their feet. In that game yesterday again, you have a week to prepare. You have a week to prepare again. It's a lot we're asking of these lads.
Yeah, no more than when Ryan was playing for the county as well. Like, teams under Jim Ryan, I'm sure you'd agree. Like, Jim loves to play the game in his terms, and for long stretches of that second half, Mayo made sure Donegal didn't get to do that. I think it was Kieran Whelan made the point in the Sunday game last night too. That was quite valid. Like, Donegal never got the chance to get into that state where they were playing the game in their terms and slowing it down a bit and just gradually building up the play. And just Mayo kind of held all the chips at that stage. Like, and that's
I think that probably came from. I think that probably came from Donegal not going that 5, 6, 7 points ahead. And that probably would have happened. Maybe that it took one of them goal chances and a few dropped short in the second half, and a few wides in the second half, and a few 45 dropped short, and one we just didn't get that 5, 6, 7 points ahead that we usually get. Then we can start to relax on the ball. Then we have more runners off the shoulder and breaking those lines and taking easy scores in. I think that we didn't get that. Then Mayo tagged on a score, kind of did. It was, you say, chaos. It kind of just maybe the game plan goes out the window. We just have to every man go for this here. But like you're saying, Mayo's no bad team. Mayo's got some great players, and they're season battled, and they can play football. But you just need to get teams ahead of teams at 5 or 6 points. Then we can start playing it in our own terms. And I think when that happens, I think that's when Donegal are at their best.
Yeah. Ryan, listen, I know you got to go. You're going training soon. You're not like me and the J man here putting the feet up every night. You're still doing.
I wish I was.
You're still doing your thing for Buncrana. You're a dangerous man, the full forward line yet. Tell me, a wee question for you. Horst Devlin on Smaller Fish there made a bit of a swipe. Let's say he's not Donegal's biggest fan. I made a bit of a swipe at Donegal, criticising the Ulster final celebrations and the bandstand and that and the trailer down in Donegal town. What do you make of that? He was saying we won Ulsters and there was none of this carry on, going on. What do you make of them comments?
I think he's still a bit sore from his master plan last year. I think coming into Derry, huh? I don't think he's ever going to get over that. It's a couple of swipes he's been at Donegal.
Yeah,
he done it before last year.
Yeah.
I think Wally loves having them on to get a rattle at Donegal. Wally loves that, I think, too.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I think it's just sour grapes, I
was kind of thinking,
why not celebrate something you work hard for all year,
Whose business is that, that he's criticizing?
The effort they put into won an Ulster title. Why should they not celebrate it whatever way they want?
Yeah, no, 100%. Ryan, listen, have you got a shoot on there? I know Eamon McGee's got a few shuttles there for you to be doing. Hey, getting ready for the championship, and you shoot on there, big guy, and we'll catch you down the tracks there. Hopefully,
great talking to you.
Hopefully, get to watch you playing.
Let's see.
Good man.
All right, Jen. All right, Jason.
That's Ryan Badley there. Way off they do is training with Buncrana. What a servant he was to Donegal. What a brilliant couple of years he had on Jim Phase 1. We're at Phase 2 now, and we're going to take a wee ad break here, and we'll be back with more with Jason Byrne here. We're going to talk a wee bit more about the build up to Donegal Louth, and of course a couple of main talking points from the weekend. Back after this.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
We're serving up summer at Dunnes Stores and it's barbecue season. Mix and match 3 for €10 across a fantastic range of meat and fish. Try something vibrant like succulent king prawns. Or enjoy Boardbia quality assured meats like piri piri chicken wings or new hot honey pork belly slices and many more. Any 3 for just €10. Plus, save at the till with a 10 off 50 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
A seesaw, a staring contest, a high five? Some things are hard to do on your own. In business, becoming more sustainable can be one of them. That's why Bank of Ireland has introduced the Sustainable Business Coach. This free digital platform gives you guidance, support, and a practical plan to help you take your next sustainability steps. To get started today, search Bank of Ireland Sustainable Business Coach. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
New store, new project. Your new B&Q and TradePoint Letterkenny is now open. Dreaming of a garden glow-up, fresh colour for your walls, or a new kitchen? Whatever you need for your next home improvement project, we're here to help at your new B&Q Letterkenny. Find us at Unit 4 Letterkenny Retail Park, Neil T. Blaney Road. We're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday. You can do it when you B&Q it.
At the Central Statistics Office, we're trusted to gather all sorts of information. So, we count lakes, stakes, and haulage intakes. We count wages, ages, and all of life's stages. We count loans, phones, still living at home. We count euros and cents and housing and rents. We count Mars, electric cars, and the price of a jar. Because this data informs important decisions on everything from economic activity to housing policy to what to call a new baby. And we can't do it without you. CSO, count on us. We count on you.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
What time is it? 7:32 here on Highland Radio. Thanks for coming back after those ad breaks. Joe Deck's keeping me right here, and we're keeping the time right for everybody wherever you're at in the world. I know we have listeners all over the world, and we have a man actually just dialed in, and little did I know he is on another time zone in another part of the world. Keevan Riley. Keevan, welcome.
How are you, Brendan?
Thanks for joining us. I put a message out to you. Jason Byrne's on as well there, Keevan. I put a message on to you there to come on, give us a shout there, because no man knows Louth football like you, and you were telling me you're far afield at the minute, but you're keeping a close eye on things.
Yeah, like I'm in Toronto here, so I'm slightly closer to Donegal than probably all the Donegal folk in Vancouver. That seems to be the place that the people tend to go. But no, I'm in Toronto here. I'm here since last August, and I probably would have been here earlier only for I wanted to see out last year's championship with Louth. Obviously at that stage I was sports editor with the Drogheda Independent group. So there was 3 papers in Louth. I was I suppose I was in the editor's chair with those and following Louth around the country. So it was a labour of love, and you know, last year it probably felt that you'd have to go a long way to better last year at the time, in the sense of getting through to an All-Ireland quarter-final, which for us was huge, because it was the first time since the quarter-finals come in. And it was our I suppose our longest championship since last winning the All-Ireland in 1957. So little did I know, I suppose, what was going to unfold this year. And like I flew home. I was home for 24 hours for the Leinster final. Like it was, I suppose, when you've seen so many bad days, I certainly wasn't going to miss one of the potentially good ones. So yeah, keeping a close eye on it, and obviously still be in touch with Jar Brennan and a lot of the players. So yeah, still across it.
Still a cry. Listen, no doubt, and you've built up some bank of knowledge, I suppose. And I want to ask you from a Louth perspective, Keevan, about the draw. But Jason, just go to you in terms of, you know, people. Mate from Galway was ringing me on the way up. He says the last thing we want to do is come to Ballybofey. Nobody really wanted to come to Ballybofey, I suppose, when we were thinking about it from the opposition side, Jason. But what did you make of the draw when it came out? Because again, and Keevan will tell us a bit more about this, Louth I suppose, in terms of winning Leinster, beating Meath, and obviously the history that they made and all that. They definitely came into the group stage not maybe on form, but they did look like they turned the corner, particularly in the comeback against Down, and of course their victory yesterday. So is there a kick in Louth, Jason, or what's your feeling about this game next week?
There's definitely a kick in Louth, Bryn. I think they probably suffered a big hangover from that Leinster final, probably in the literal sense as well, and deservedly so. But you know, like, I was at that game that Queven spoke about last year at Croke Park when Donegal and Louth played each other in the quarterfinals, and like Louth asked serious questions of Donegal for large parts of that game until a goal from Owen Van Galler in the second half kind of put the tin hat in things. But like, Ger Brennan would have done massive work into winning that game against Donegal last year, and I expect no more than the same this weekend when they come to Ballybofey. Like, Louth are coming up as serious underdogs. They'll see this as a chance to take a massive scalp, and a game where they have nothing to lose really, because like they've had the dream summer, as Queven said, in winning that Leinster title. Like, who would have thought it? Just around 6 weeks ago, like, who would have thought it? It really, that has been the story of the championship, and it probably will still stand out as the story of the championship whenever Sam Maguire's resting somewhere at the end of July. So like, they have so many great players, and I'd say just the celebrations after the Leinster title and everything else just took a lot out of the group. But they did battle again, they did go again, and like, they had to win that game against Clare at the weekend, and they did, and they got it out of the way, and they're here, and deservedly so. So like, I still think Donegal will win, but I don't think, everyone's just kind of dismissing Louth's chances here already since the draw this morning. And no more than yourself, I was getting texts off Galway, people saying they were delighted they weren't coming to Ballybofey, but Louth will be delighted to come to Ballybofey. I'd say they'll absolutely fear nothing and give Donegal a massive test. They just have, like, the likes of Sam Roy, players like that are just among the best in the business. They really, really are. And Brennan's got a serious kick out of them since Mickey Hart left that time and laid a lot of the foundations for them. But Brennan's just brought them on again, and he's a really deep thinker of the game. Really impressive guy, and he's no mug, and Louth will come and give this everything this Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, himself and Downey hitting 2-11 against Clare. Kevin, what's the feeling then? Because it's all right us saying here, be wary. I don't think anybody really wanted to come to Ballybofey. And what did you make of it when the draw come out in terms of we're away to Donegal? What was the feeling?
There wasn't a good draw to be had, really, in terms of progression. Like last year, drawing Cork was the favourable one, and the fact that you had a home game. But as I sort of was explaining to people, like, it's not as if we have a home venue really. Like, it'd be in a scheme which in theory is a home venue and you have a reasonably good record in it, but it's not either at the same time, because it's not in our county. If you look at Down, like, who come second in the group Louth were in, they've drawn Galway at home. Like, that's a daunting draw sort of as well, and Louth's possibilities were Donegal, Kerry or Dublin. Now, if you had asked me yesterday evening who I'd have looked for, and I sort of said it to a few people, it probably would have been the Dubs, given maybe last year's Leinster final, Louth were competitive with them.
Yeah.
They probably don't have the fearsome, well, they obviously don't have the fearsome look that they once had. The familiarity with Croke Park that Louth have, and obviously its proximity to home, which might have meant a big support going up the road. But again, you were really on a hiding to nothing with that too. The Donegal one is probably slightly more favourable to Kerry, not because Donegal are inferior to Kerry. I think Donegal's, to me, still All Ireland favourites. But the track down the road to Kerry now, and I suppose I was listening into you earlier on. There was maybe a lot of complaints. So Jim, we might have to get on to Jim's travel agent till we get a hotel up close to Donegal.
With the rally on, you could be struggling a bit, Kevin.
Yeah, I heard about that too. I heard about that. B&B might have to do, or else we get a caravan in Bundoran.
That's a few tents.
But no. So like, there was no easy draw. Donegal is what it is, trying to go into Ballybofey and win. The only, I will say, comfort that you draw from it is we were quite competitive with Donegal twice last year, albeit Donegal were still comfortable winners. What was it, 5 points in Ballyshannon and 8 in Croke Park. Like Kerry gave us 2 right trimmings in the last 2 years in Portlaoise. And like if you're going down to Killarney and they're reeling sort of after the manner of the performance against Meath, like whatever opportunity you have outside remote possible, chance you have of maybe winning in Ballybuffet, I think going down to Killarney with all those variables probably would have been nigh on impossible. So listen, there wasn't an easy draw to be had, and I'll be completely honest. Like Louth have had a very difficult year in terms of trying to get consistency and rhythm in the team in terms of selection. Injuries has just been it's I've sort of never seen it like it, where you've been constantly missing players and players dropping in and out. And you were looking at the beginning of the year saying that having got Andy McDonald back and a couple of other players, even like the likes of Conor Brannigan and Bevan Duffy coming back, guys like that you had a panel of, it looked like on paper you could have named a 26 that were relatively interchangeable, and that it wasn't as if you were just trying to fill it out, maybe with young lads or inexperienced players. That hasn't been the case. Like at various stages of the year, you've been missing maybe 5, 6, 7 nailed on starters for different reasons. And again, like we just seem to be bleeding men. Like the goalkeeper Niall McDonald went off. By all accounts, the knee didn't look great after the game. Craig Lennon sort of had a bit of a concussion. I'm led to believe Bevan Duffy was a nose break during the week, but I think there's a hamstring injury there too, or issue. Dermot Campbell, again, he's just been nursed through the year and is such a pivotal player for us. Andy McDonald, his year with Louth is probably out with the knee, so there was probably such a physical toll taken to try and win that Meath game. Obviously, along with the obvious come down from the celebrations. And then the other thing I'll say about this is Louth are not a top 8 team. Like last year, they got a good draw and got to a quarter final. Like if you actually look at the way Division 2, the sort of has been a yo-yo element between the teams coming down from Division 1 and then those getting promoted the following year. Those 10 are nearly in an exclusive ban. Now, obviously, Meath have made somewhat of an impression during the year and into the championship, and you will always get like the likes of Cork beating Roscommon. There's the potential for those middling band of Division 2 teams to spring a surprise. But realistically, if you're selecting the top 8 on merit, none of them are in it. They're in Division 1, or else they're winning Division 2. And we're a bit off that. Probably coming second in the group would have been the most realistic expectation, because I don't think we were better than Monaghan, and it was always going to be, you were always going to be up against it, because like if you look on that first weekend, a lot of the teams that won on that first weekend, like I think the provincial champions obviously had a bad start across the board nearly to the All-Ireland series. Like there's a lot to be said for having maybe a month to plan for your first match in an All-Ireland series. Obviously you get to scope out who you could potentially be playing, but it's a case of getting a training block in, getting things sort of really worked out, getting players fit. And like, I'll put it to you this way, if you're not able to summon a performance after that month off where you can really drill down and figure out the reasons why you were beaten in your championship, in your provincial championship, then you're maybe, not up to much in the first place. And I think that's ultimately, like, we needed everything to go away against Monaghan. It didn't against Down. Slow start, but there's very little between Louth and Down, and probably they had every variable in their favour. Like if back in the league match, Louth beat them by a point, and Drogheda, again, that was home advantage. This time Down were at home. They had the morale boost, obviously, of beating Clare, having had the sort of the couple of week layoff from their Ulster semi-final against Donegal. And Louth were sort of the walking wounded going in that day as well, and still could have pipped them. So, I don't sort of want this to sound like a roundabout ramble in a ways, but really you probably got to where you're going to get to. And if you look at who Down drew, like even had you come second, like Galway's not, much more appetizing than the three. That you could have ultimately drawn.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, listen, it's one of those seasons. It takes so much, I think, out of squads, Kevin, and that's why when you really put the pin in the collar, you pick up a few injuries and you're in trouble. Just on that, Jason, you look at the weekend there. From a weekend from weeks of craziness and up and down, really, Cork, Louth, Monaghan, Donegal, Dublin, Tyrone, and Galway were all slight favourites, I think, going into the game. I think particularly Galway backs the wall, maybe against Armagh. I don't think generally there would be much on that. I mean, Meath was the big shocker. But apart from that, even though every one of those teams were tested to the very last, they did come through. So it was a kind of an unusual weekend. Was anything in there, Jason, stood out for you in terms of what we got to know about the teams that managed to get their victories?
Well, I was in Cavan on Saturday night, Brendan, at the Galway Armagh game, and Galway it was literally a game of two halves. But Galway's first half told us a lot about what they can do terribly, and the second half told us so much about what they can do well, and how good they can actually be if they perform. Now, if they can produce 70 minutes of that, I think they'll be right back in it, because they fell 9 points behind in the first half. And it looked like it was game over. Ethan Rafferty nailed the 2.3, and they were 15 points to 6 behind.
Superhuman, this Rafferty, man. He's superhuman, isn't he? Rafferty?
Outrageous. He got 7 points and made some massive saves as well. Saved the first half penalty from Matthew Tierney. Did enough to put Rob Finnerty off the other one, and Finnerty blazed it over the bar. Now, but the Galway second half performance was outrageously good. Porrick Joyce must have been fuming at half time. I'd say he tore strips off them, to be honest. But
Conroy comes on.
Blazing. What's that?
Conroy comes on as well. It was unusual. He was kept back. Footballer of the year, taken off the last 2 games, but you have him to bring in, which is vital in a game like that, particularly with our man control.
Yeah, and Porrick made that point after the game. It was a risk to leave him off, but in the end, it was a masterstroke, because Armagh were just cleaning them out in the middle with Jason Duffy and Niall Grimley. Niall Grimley was given his chance to start for Armagh as well, so he was eager to impress to kind of nail down a spot for the quarterfinals. But Conroy came on and absolutely changed the game, got a point, and then some of the subs that came in, Cal Sweeney came on and got a point, and then won the resulting kick out and played through Rob Finnerty for their second goal. That was a massive moment. And then Shane Walsh, he has his critics. He could blow hot and cold, but on Saturday night he was absolutely red hot. He got 9 points in total and kicked the winner at the very end. Showed real nerve to put it over the bar. Kind of Kieran Moore's situation, except from a free, the hooter had gone. He was standing over the posts, and he had to score for them to win and make sure they got through in third place, without knowing what was going on in the Dublin Derry game. So that was a massive moment as well. Sean Fitzgerald at fullback was absolutely outstanding. Had to go off with a head injury early enough in the second half, so hopefully he's okay. And they did all this as well without Damien Comer, who looks like he's not going to play at the weekend for that trip to Down. He next to hamstring in training, so he's not going to make the trip to Park Esther, which is a big blow for them. But he still fancy them to just about get through that game. And I'm after getting a text here as well, Brendan, from Christina McFadden, a fan in Kellybegs. Her son plays for Donegal, so we better not slate him. The clues in the surname. So.
Yes, I get you. Be careful. Look, that's one of your homeboys as well. You got to look after him, lads. Brilliant wrap up, Kevin. Just a last word. You're not going to parachute into Ballbuffet from Toronto, no?
I don't think so. Maybe, I suppose, further. Well, the only thing I'll say is, I was just listening to you earlier on. You were talking about tests further down the line. I actually have flights booked for the All Ireland, so I'm fully expecting Louth to win this weekend.
That's the kind of fighting talk. That's why you're on here, Kevin. I love it. Hey, listen, nobody's going to go down without a fight. Hey, and we're looking forward to another big championship game in Ballbuffet at the weekend, lads, and can't wait to see it.
Absolutely.
Listen, lads, Kevin Riley out in Toronto, and Jason Byrne, wherever you are, you're down about Athlone, are you, lad?
I'm down about Athlone, but I'm coming up home this weekend.
And you're missing Killybegs. How could you not?
I can't wait to get back to Killybegs. I'll be in Melly's for fish and chips on Friday, so that's a fact.
Melly's for fish and chips. There you go. There has to be a free fish and chip coming there now, Melly's.
You must be Jim's travel agent, Jason, if you're down in the Midlands. They were struggling for a hotel, and what was it? They had to
that's right.
In order to get one.
They actually stayed where I got married to, even, would you believe me? So Yeah, I didn't pull any strokes, so I'm not the travel agent. So,
You have enough on your plate, says you. Listen, Kevin Riley, Jason Byrne, listen, thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Anytime, DD.
Top man. Really appreciate that. We're going to take a wee ad break, and I'll back with you with a few words from James Daly.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
The countdown is on. Just a few months until Highland in the Sun hits Louth. Just picture it. This September, from the 14th to the 21st, you can enjoy 7 nights bed and breakfast plus dinner in the beautiful 4-star Sol Costa Jurado Hotel with airport transfers in Spain included. You will enjoy 7 nights of the music that you love, including Mick Flavin, Claudia Buckley, Johnny Brady, Dominic Kerwin and many, many more. Give yourself an end of summer treat by booking your getaway with Highland Radio and myself, David James. Contact Country Music Tours to book your place today on 074 9119 955. See ya in Salou.
The Irish Independent says the all-new Dacia Bigster offers style, comfort and agility. It's the big family car with big space, big tech, a big boot and big hybrid power with a not-so-big price tag. From an incredible €29,990 with low-cost finance options available. Visit your local Dacia dealer to find out more. Price excludes delivery and related charges. T's and C's apply, subject to lending criteria. Offers are limited. See dacia.ie.
Across the world, hunger levels are rising at an alarming rate. Conflict and climate change are leaving families without the food they need to survive, and millions of children are at risk of extreme hunger. Concerned staff are working around the clock, but we desperately need your help. A gift to Concern today can provide the life-saving emergency food children need to survive. Please visit concern.net now and join us in the fight against hunger. Your support will save lives. Thank you.
Grab half-price broadband in the Virgin Media Playhouse. For this month only, all our broadband speeds are half price. That's lightning-fast connection from just €35 a month, locked in for 12 months with no activation fee. Why wait? Enjoy speeds from 500 megs to 5 gigs right now. All for half price. Available nationwide. See virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. New customers only, €35 per month for 12 months for 500 meg broadband. Half price on 12-month broadband contracts only and based on after-offer prices for all speeds. Offer ends 2nd of July. T's and C's apply. See virginmedia.ie.
The DL Debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen. And there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Yes, folks, welcome back to the DL Debate. This evening we're just waiting on James Daly there. He's doing a bit of coaching. Of course, Donegal ladies open up their championship campaign. They had a tough Ulster final defeat to Armagh earlier in the season and a long layoff to their group stages. There's 3 teams in the group. It was Galway, Tipperary and Donegal. So, you know, Galway obviously in the All-Ireland final last year and, you know, one of the main contenders. And as we know, Donegal are building a team that's in transition again. So listen, it was a difficult first game, but we're playing Tipperary next away. It's this Saturday, but we've already beaten Tipperary in the league. So we're going to hear just a few words from James just to see how the pre-season in terms of championship has gone and what he made of the game at the weekend. Is he on this? There he is, Joe Dex. James, are you there?
I'm here, yeah. How's it going?
James, thanks for joining us. I know there's a wee switch in training for you there, so you just dropped in for a few minutes then. I really appreciate you making time for it. We're always here in the DL Debate looking to, you know, promote the game and make sure, you know, we're behind the girls because there's always such an effort being put in.
Yeah.
Aye, listen, James, we all know the effort and the demands has gone up and up and up. But listen, was it always going to be a tough outing? I was saying just at Galway, you know, All-Ireland finalists last year, they're a team that's maybe tipped to win it. So was it going to be a difficult opener for your team?
Look, it was always going to be a difficult opener, Brendan. We had a situation like where we're put in with one of the better teams in the country, and then we're in with Tipperary as well. We look at where we've come from, and now people might not be seeing it on the scoreboard, but we think we've made huge improvements. We've done a lot of work with the girls, and there's massive improvement. Like if you had said to me going in at half time, you know, we'd have held Galway to 3 scores. I would look at, I'll take that all day long. The fact that we hadn't scored is the issue. We're struggling a wee bit with transition, and when we get the ball up front, making the right decisions and things like that. But as I said before, it's a young team. We're only going to get better at these things, okay? And it's all going to be practice on the training field and working on all these things, to get us better when we get to that end of the pitch.
Yeah, and Jim, just on that, James, you're building when you have a young team. We all know in championship, we see it everywhere. Like, experience is so vital, and when you're moulding a team like that, they have to take a few knocks to kind of build that character, to build that experience. So there's nothing about that defeat, as you said. You'll know now in transition what we're going to work on. But we've beaten Tipperary already this year, so it's more of a reasonable, I suppose, a game to really drive for, to go and try and get a victory.
Yeah, of course. Like the experience, as you said, that experience is massive, and our experience is in our defence, Brendan. And like when we can turn the likes of Evelyn McGinley, Blannon McLaughlin, Shauna McFadden, girls you got there who are experienced players. They've been playing a long time, and that's why we're so strong. When we go across the halfway line, all our girls are 19, 20, some of them are 18, 20, 21 years old. So it's a process, okay? Now we're going up against Tipperary next weekend, with them in the league, in Lifford, and we want to, we want to take what we've gotten in the last 8 weeks since we picked them, and we've looked at them, and they've obviously gotten better as well. So it's up to us now. We need a big game out of the girls. We need everybody to be to do as well on defensive day against Galway. We will really Tipperary. Then getting the transition better, we think we can get it better. Okay, Tipperary would be more of a team on the road, and but look, we take it as it comes. We're planning on going to Tipperary Friday night and playing the game Saturday afternoon, and we're hoping to come out with a victory.
Yeah, and James, just on that, people would be moaning travelling and Donegal and that, but when there's so few games now, a big break between the Ulster Championship final and this game, is there something about being away, maybe building that wee bit of a bond that's good for the girls? Because sometimes you're training and you get your meal and you're away, you maybe don't get enough time to maybe interact, but in many ways a game like this, the away trip's not a bad thing.
100%, Brian, and it does build a wee bit of camaraderie with the girls going away for a night out, a night over, I should say, not a night out, but a night over, and yeah. we will be, we've done a few of these already, and it does really work out well, and you're spending the night with them, and you're having a bit of crack, and it definitely does build a wee bit of camaraderie, and it's something that's very, very important. I said before, we've brought 6 minors into this squad now as well, so we were young, and now we brought 6 more young girls in. But look, it'll be good for them to be loading them into the panel as well, and then so when they come next year, it's not such a big job.
Yeah, first class, Jim. Listen, keep up the good work, and all the girls pull together, and you'll get to where you need to go in terms of goals. So listen, I wish you all the best in your game away to Tipperary this week.
Brian, appreciate your support. Okay, thank you very much.
Fair play to you. That's James Daly there, Donegal ladies manager. Fair play to him. They're away to Tipperary this week. We're wishing them all the best. That's it for the DL debate this evening, folks. Thanks very much to Joe Dex for producing this. The lovely Trudy's out here, along with some other book. I don't know who he is, but he's your sidekick or whoever he is there. Of course, the excellent Monday night sessions is coming up, and of course, Paul will be putting out the beats along with Trudy. Stay tuned for that.
The DL debate with Sister Sara's Letterkenny, serving food you'll love till 9 p.m. daily in Sara's Kitchen, and there's free admission entertainment every weekend.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
At 8, good evening, I'm Tina Gates. Donald Trump has not yet signed a draft G7 statement calling for a de-escalation in tensions between Israel and Iran. The statement's been drawn up by world leaders meeting in Canada all this week. Israel's alleged it had no choice but to strike Iran, which it claims was proceeding towards building a nuclear bomb. Iran insists its nuclear program is peaceful. After 4 days of airstrikes between the two, the US president insists Iran wants to talk.
They had 60 days, and on the 61st day I said, we don't have a deal. They have to make a deal. It's painful for both parties, but I'd say Iran is not winning this war, and they should talk, and they should talk immediately before it's too late.
Israel's President Isaac Herzog insists Iran is dramatically proceeding towards a nuclear bomb.
The truth of the matter is there was no other choice. Let's just remember that the supreme leader of Iran has for years called for the annihilation of Israel, has for years called for the annihilation of my nation state, of the Jewish people.
Iran's ambassador to the UK, Syed Ali Musavi, says his country's nuclear program is, however, peaceful.
We have a very constructive approach from Iranian side based on good faith to remove any concern and worries regarding for the Iranian peaceful nuclear activities, that this is our intention.
People Before Profit TD Paul Murphy is reportedly being held in an Egyptian police station. His family says he's been detained again after appearing at the station in Cairo to retrieve his phone from authorities. It's claimed a number of other members of the Global March to Gaza have also been detained and all of their passports taken. Paul's partner Jess Spear says it's a concerning situation.
I mean, it's very upsetting from a personal point of view, you know, like I'd like him to come home. I'm very worried about his safety because of the region that he's in, but I do want to emphasise, and I think he would emphasise, compared to the situation in Gaza, which is the whole point of the trip.
The former home of the Tuam babies has been sealed off prior to the country's first ever exhumation of a mass grave. It's expected to take 2 years to fully exhume the remains of 796 infants believed to be buried on the grounds of the former mother and baby home in Tuam in County Galway. They're understood to have died between 1925 and 1961, the equivalent of one death at the home every 2 weeks. Journalist Alison O'Reilly broke the story in 2014. She says it's a very complicated process.
The way they're going to do it is going to be in 5 phases. They're going to seal off the car park, the playground and the whole interior part of the Dublin Road housing estate. They will finally end up in the Memorial Garden, where the majority of the children, we believe,